All right, welcome back. Well, yes, indeed, we'll focus on developments in Edo politics. We've got Honorable Samson Osagie, who is a former minority whip, is a member of the APC right there. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, security continues to be a concern in this forthcoming elections. Many just wonder, in spite of what the police and INEC may have put up certain guidelines, they are still very much concerned about how politicians will conduct themselves or rein in their supporters on that day. Let me start by asking you, what are you doing in that regard to ensure that the fears that people have is actually addressed as a party now?
Good morning, Chamberlain and Maukwe. Yes, in Edo, there is some sort of heightened tension and anxiety about the forthcoming elections. And the unfortunate aspect of it is that the PDP candidates and his running mate are the architects of this heightened tension in Edo State. The APC and its candidates have continued to carry out their campaigns without generating any form of crisis or the other, because we have a campaign code, and that is that we would not support any act of thuggery, any act of violence. In the incidences you have had, quite a number of them, they have been caused by the PDP and its candidate. And it has been so for the past 1 year. So it is not even because of these campaigns. The governor and his deputy have continued to unleash mayhem through their voice in Edo State across the Senatorial District on members of the APC. It didn't just start today. And we have said that we will not be provoked to retaliate in any form. So today he's using the power of his incumbency, his authority as chief security officer to oppress the APC in Edo. And then he's the one to cry out first that the APC is the one causing crisis. There is no scintilla of evidence anywhere that APC members have caused any crisis, except, of course, their baseless allegation that has been going on. But I know the security agencies have been doing their best.
What evidence do you have when you say they've been fomenting trouble in different local government areas? What specifically have they done?
Well, from the reports we get, the people they have arrested that have caused troubles, a number of times, are supporters of the governor. That is the truth of the matter. And that's
local government has. So what happened? Could you give us an example? Which of the local governments? What happened, and who were those arrested?
For example, the day the House of Assembly was taken over by the governor and the talks, because he personally led talks to the House of Assembly, which they are now demolishing. Police arrested some boys with arms and ammunition, and we are calling on the police to declare the identity of those people so that those people will know who is causing mayhem. And it is also true that those who shot guns at people at the palace of the Obda of Benin were also members of the PDP who followed the governor to the palace. In Apana, we have written a petition to the IG and the Commissioner of Police stating the names of PDP thugs who came and started shooting, at villagers in Apanam, in Edo North Senatorial District. So we have these evidences, even in the course of this campaign, and we are saying that the police should parade these people and really let us know their identity, let the Edo people know their identity, and then you will know the source of all of this crisis. They cause mayhem, they cause crisis, they generate heat, and then they blame it on the APC.
Simply Honorable, someone listening to you now, just one moment. Just one moment. Someone listening to you now would say, well, this is what politicians say, because, of course, we hope to have the other side also join us shortly, because anyone listening to you would say it is good. I mean, you would say it is the PDP, and, of course, the PDP will also say it is the APC. For instance, I think it was last week or the week before, we've also heard the PDP say that, they are aware that your party is also cooking up trouble one how or another, and you probably intend, from some speculations they also have, to use the federal might against the people in Edo State.
Well, I have told you that the incidences we have had is not whether we are hearing what they are doing. There's a difference between this is what we are hearing they will do. I am telling you that the incidences we have, and I've specifically mentioned them, that these incidences have been precipitated by PDP talks. Now, the speculation that, oh, APC is going to do this, APC is going to do that, is in the realm of speculation. And I know, for instance, the
just
DSS...
one moment, Honorable. Honorable, it was no speculation when they accused the APC of being the ones that fomented trouble at the palace of the monarch when leaders of the PDP visited the state.
But you are also aware, if you watch that video clip clearly, that it was APC members who were shot at and who were taken to the hospital. So the point I made is that this crisis have been precipitated by the PDP talks and the governor supporters. I made that point very clear. And if APC have remained the victims of their attacks, so how can you conclude that their allegations are correct? Because in all of these encounters, the APC have been the victims. I can name them, a number of them, and you are aware. So we are not speculating. We have written petitions to the IG, and we have stated the names, identities of those who were responsible for the Apanam attack. And the police on their own have done a yeoman's job, by arresting some people with regard to the issue at the palace and at the House of Assembly. And they are cooling off in the police arms. So they are doing their best. But the truth is that the government is using the apparatchik of states and the resources of state to, gender propaganda against the opposition party. And we are saying, no, we are not involved in all of this. And we have stated it clearly, how they are planning to unleash mayhem in order to intimidate, in order to harass.
So could you talk to us then? Tell us about this letter from the DSS addressed to Tony Adun, a.k.a. Kabaka, asking him to come with Osakwa Ereyo, Ehis Adams, Osaro, Idahosa, Okumbo Roberts, several others. All of them are members of the APC. Why is this?
Yes. It was also, just that letter was the one published. There was also a letter written by the DSS to members of the PDP. And our members who have attended that interview have since returned home. It was like a friendly chat with the SSS. It wasn't because they were found with anything. In fact, some of the names you find on that list have not been part of the campaigns, have not been partaking in the campaigns at all. So the truth is that they cook these things up, accuse our people unfairly, and they have since gone
invitation
to see the security agencies, and they have come back.
Did you say the names on that list were cooked up?
They were cooked up because they were not involved in anything. They were not charged with anything. Of course, when you are invited by the police or the security agencies, you are obliged to honor the invitation. And I'm glad to inform you that our members on that list have honored the invitation, and they have interacted with the security agencies, and they are back in their homes. Okay. They were not arrested. They were invited. That's all.
All right. Now we've got John Yakubu, who was a former deputy governorship candidate for the PDP in 2016. He was deputy to Isayama while he contested. He's also chairman of the Esa North Campaign Council for the PDP, joining us from Benin. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. I'm not sure how much of what Honorable Osage said that you caught, but he did pointedly accuse your party, the PDP, of being the ones fomenting trouble and causing the heightened tension in the state ahead of the elections. Is that right?
Well, good morning, Chamberlain, and good morning, viewer. I want to quickly say here that Sansi Usage should know that we are talking to Edo. We're not talking to strangers, we're talking to Edo, and talking to the world. And part of the Edo people that we speak to are even more aware of what we do here. So when we come to television to try to defend what is defensible, Edo people just smile. I can tell you here that the tigers and the lions that were introduced not too long ago are members of the APC. They came introducing themselves as tigers and lions. And that was not refuted by the party. And they encouraged them. Not only did they encourage them, they brought them together and asked them to ask a tiger and lion. And don't forget, Chamberlain, I want to appeal to you. when issues like this come up, I expect that the station should bring back records and videos of utterances of leaders of APC, like former chairman of APC, Adams Oshomole, who refer constantly and consistently refer to these tigers and lions as infantry division of the APC. Chamberlain, infantry division just don't go without arms and ammunition, and they be properly armed to the teeth. If they are the infantry division, I'm not saying it, I'm quoting Adams Oshomole, the former national chairman of APC, referring to these lions and tigers as infantry division of APC. And when that video happened, Chamberlain, 1 week after, the lions, the tigers attacked at the Oba Palace. And it is unfortunate that when myself and Samson Osage are addressing Edo, and when we leave the television station like this, Edo people will sit down and begin to analyze and know who is speaking the truth and who is lying. He did mention just now, when you ask specific questions, of those who were invited. And I want to thank the SSS and the police for doing a good job, because all we need to do is to keep it on the board. It was good that these tigers and lions who introduced themselves were so invited, so that the air could be cleared. And that was done. And Samson Osage said it was a friendly chat. If it was a friendly chat, I wonder why Samson Osage was not invited. If it was a friendly chat, I wonder why other members of the party were not invited, but rather the SSS. No,
but yeah, Mr. Yakubu, but he also did say that
on the 19th of September,
could you tell us directly now, if you can hear me, were members of the PDP not equally invited?
That was not shown. That was not shown to us. Members of APC who were invited placed that in on social media, and we saw it. And I want to tell you, I completely assume that not just were these tigers and lions invited, I assume that the invitation extended to Oshomole was to also tell him to allow peace reign in Edo State. We know this. It is not. We are not just coming to television to say it. They know themselves. They have demonstrated it. And what I'm saying, like I pleaded with you, you can play back Oshomole. Even when this crisis started, he refers to these lions and tigers on national television as infantry division.
Can you hear me, Mr.?
Infantry division in the military.
Could you answer the question as to, were members of the PDP not equally invited?
I answered by saying, when that invitation was extended to the tigers and the lion, they themselves published it. And that was how we got to know that they've been invited. I am not a member of SSS or DSS. I am not there. Such letters are written and they are dispatched to the person they are meant for. For them to have come to television to show it to the world, sorry, to Facebook and social media to show it to the world, means that they were the people invited. We don't have letters of such inviting some of our members. And let me be specific. In all honesty, we don't have tigers and lions. And we don't intend to trade tigers or lions or have infantry division. You can see I am specific about what I'm saying. I'm saying this because these persons refer to themselves as tigers and lions, and they were encouraged not only to act as tigers and lions in their unit and ward, they were encouraged as dangerous animals to go beyond their ward. Chamberlain played that tape.
But you're making a big deal out of the ones who were invited by the APC. But he just told us now, Honorable Osage just said that members of the PDP were equally invited. So why are you making such a hoopla about those of the APC as though members of PDP were not equally invited?
Honestly speaking, I am not aware. I am the chairman campaign council, Eastern Northeast local government represent campaign to bring back Obaseki as a member of the party. I am not aware of any of our members. And let me say, our members were not invited because we don't have tigers and lions. And like I said at the beginning of this interview, we are speaking to Edo people. Samson Osage and my humble self reside in Edo, and we do our politics in Edo. When we talk on television and come here to begin to deny issues that they are aware of, we just make mockery of the process of democracy.
Let's bring back Honorable Osage on this one. Just hold on, Mr. Yakubu. Honorable Osage, could you directly respond to that? Because he says you appear to be distorting the facts.
Well, Chamberlain, I can see the energy my brother and friend is dissipating on non-issues here. We are talking specifically of incidences of political violence in Edo State. And we have stated, and I have stated clearly today, that a number of incidences have occurred, which I have pointedly said were caused by the PDP. Now, I have been invited by security agencies in the past, countdown to these elections, and that you are invited by the police on trump-up charges resulting from petitions does not make you a culprit. As we speak now, Chamberlain, it will interest you to know that some special advisors of the governor are on the run because after causing one mayhem or the other, the police and the security agencies have been on their train. They are running away. In fact, one has gone to the Federal High Court now for the enforcement of his fundamental human rights in order to stop the police from arresting him after he has masterminded an attack. So we have specific instructions. My brother and friend is tucked in Uromin, so he does not really know what is happening here.
But Honorable Asage, what he's saying is that, if I could rephrase it, that politicians being who they are, that if the PDP were invited the same way that the APC's invitation letter was published, that the APC would have equally made a meal about the letter of invitation by the DSS to the members of the PDP if they had it. Is that right?
Well, our members who received the invitations, acting out of clear conscience, decided to make it public that this is what the PDP is masterminding. And I do not think that there is anything wrong if you are accused and you are invited. It's a sign of responsibilities, civility, and respect for law enforcement agencies to honor their invitations. If the PDP people decide to keep away their invitations and don't make it a matter of public knowledge, that is their own. But I am telling you that
at the moment, have you seen a copy of the invitation letter by the PDP?
I have not seen it, but our members who attended the interview with the DSS did mention to us that the PDP people were also there.
Okay.
So, and they have all returned home. Nobody's head back. So in this whole exercise, I am very sure that the security agencies are doing their best in order to put both sides on check, whoever. But from records and from what we know, all the incidences I have mentioned are caused by PDP. The shootings at the palace were done by PDP. The attack at the House of Assembly, where arms were found on talks, who the governor led to the House of Assembly, which they are now vandalizing, are talks of PDP.
Is that a police? Are you quoting a police report in this regard? Is there any police report that says so?
Intelligence report we also have. We are in this business of campaign, and we are discreet enough. We are diligent enough to know what is happening. We also carry out our own discrete investigations.
All right, so that means that at the moment, there isn't any security agency report that indicates what you're saying at the moment.
But there might not be, but just the way he is saying what he's saying, there might not be, but I can assure you, and that is why we are calling on the security agencies, disclose the identities of those who have been arrested, so that the people will know the truth.
All right, Mr. Yakubu, well, he also did say before you came on that in Apama, as Edo North, that he pointedly accused members of your party as the ones fomenting trouble. Did you actually, are you aware of that case?
I have listened carefully to Samson Osage on these specifics, and I'm going to reply to specifics. One of the things Samson Osage said was that in Apana, we caused the problem. The former chairman of the APC have also come out to say, oh, when we got there, when we didn't see people, we started shooting to bring people. Chamberlain, how do you fire to bring people together for a rally? How do you get to a village because you are not seeing anybody, then you start to fire? How possible is that? How do you not threaten people to come to rally? Put that aside. Take the second specific. Come to Obesedo. Chamberlain, look at the video of that incident. Those who attacked the governor of the state, it's unfortunate, were wearing T-shirts of POI and wearing T-shirts of APC and carrying the banner that carry a chieftain of APC, that is Osaze, the former chairman of Uredo. So when you see issues like this and something is saying no specific APC, PDP people were the people attacking, honestly, it's laughable. Secondly, I don't want to go the way of Samson when he said, oh, I'm domiciled in Eastern Northeast, I don't know what is happening to me. Let me pointedly tell Samson Osaje that by the grace of God, I was the deputy governorship candidate of PDP with Iseyamu in 2016, and I won 4 out of the 5 local government in this land. We won 5 local government in that election, and only one came from Edo State. I had 4 to my credit. So I am domiciled in Benin here. I have my businesses here, and this is where I am. And I do my politics here. So take that aside. I don't want to join issue with something Osajo that. But coming to specific issue as to those fomenting trouble, as to those who were invited, as to those who are lions and tigers, as to those who have infantry division in their party. Is something Osajo telling the world or telling the people that is not aware that the chairman, the former chairman, Adams Oshomole, informed the entire world that the tigers and lions are so introduced at the infantry division? Is he denying that fact? I have asked a question which I want to repeat here, Chamberlain. Infantry division in the military, what do they do? Are they democratic? So if Samson Osaje is coming on air, like I said at the beginning of this program, that we are talking to Benin and Edo people, is coming on air and telling the world, oh, we are not the aggressors. Edo people are the people to judge. Not
Mr. Yakubu, just one moment. Just one moment. Just one moment. Are you aware? Just one moment. You are aware that everyone will say, okay, we want peaceful elections in Edo State. You are also aware that the INEC has said that, look, there may be a state of emergency declared if, the drums of violence continue the way they are continuing. I don't think this is what you want. What are you doing as a party, as a side in this election, to ensure that there is peace for this in the build-up to these elections and peace on election day?
Thank you, Chamberlain. I want to implore you to watch all the campaign video of His Excellency Godwin Ogwovase Obaseki and point out whether there is any place or at any point in time he has preached violence. And let me tell you, what the APC is doing, which we will not do with them. We will not go that way. We will not go that way with them. We will not go that same road with them. What we want is a peaceful election. And what they are telling us, because they know that the people are not behind them, that the example of Kogi State will be repeated in Edo State. For Christ's sake, we don't want the example. We don't want people born in their houses. We don't want leaders of the party raised and their houses raised to the dot because of election. We are pleading with APC and the Lions and the Tigers. We are pleading with the former national chairman to please withdraw his infantry division. Once that is done, like the DSS is doing, we want a peaceful election. I have had so many elections. In the 2016 general election, we had a peaceful election, like I mentioned just now, where we had only 5 local government, 4 came from me. And let me tell you this, Chamberlain. The present governor and Edo people are not contesting against APC. Know this, they are contesting against a section EPM of APC. So when they come to say we are APC, it is a section of APC that's actually contesting this election and not the whole of APC. Because
all right, just one moment. Let me ask. Just one moment. Let me ask Honorable Osage the same question now. Everybody wants peaceful elections in Edo, and I'm sure you do not want this kind of thing to continue, which would scare voters, some would say, in the build-up to the, the last elections, in the 2019 elections, for instance. Edo is one of those states that have the amber security, concern, the second level of security concerns, meaning that about 42% of people thought that there could be violence in Edo or there could be peaceful elections in Edo. What do we do to ensure there is peace? There are peaceful elections in Edo. Have you made any overtures to the other side to ensure that we have a peaceful election?
Thank you very much for your question. Let me make these few prefatory remarks. My friend keep talking about you playing the videos of former national chairman. And when you are playing those videos, please kindly also go back and play the videos of Governor Godwin Obaseki, where he gathered people together and asked them to go and deal with people ruthlessly. And who were he talking to? He was talking to PDP talks and PDP members. Now, they talk about national chairman as if he's on the ballot. He's not on the ballot. If they are afraid of the political clout of Comrade Adams Oshomole, then they have him to contend with in these campaigns, but he's not on the ballot. But like I've often said, there are always heightened tension when you are coming into elections in Edo. It has always been like this. But the security agencies, the joint security agencies, have always done their maximum best to curtail any infringement whatsoever. I'll give you an example. When the APC was about to do its primaries, which gave tickets to Pastor Sageze Iyamu, the governor of the state did interfere with the security process, asking them to stop it and try to use his talks. But the security agencies, were on red alert. And on that day, that primaries was like a major election. Security agencies were everywhere, even when we were going to flag off our campaigns. So I am very confident that the hula baloo that the PDP is making out of this whole crisis to give the impression that the APC is arming talks, they are actually the one doing it. In my own unit, as I speak to you at the Igba community, they have recruited talks and they have asked them that if they can't win, they should make sure that there's no election there. And the boys are the boys that I have worked with in the past. They paid them to cause mayhem. You can't tell me I don't know this. This is my immediate community. So John Yakubu, my friend, he is so emotional about this whole matter without looking at the facts. The facts on ground remains that the governor has said he's the only one with immunity and his deputy. And so he has power to command whatever should be done to the APC. And he has so done that in the past. I am very confident, Chamberlain, that at the end of the day...
Did you just say that those boys are the boys you worked with in the past?
Oh, yeah.
The thugs? The lions and the tigers? Or what do you mean?
Thugs. I mean, not necessarily thugs. They are young men. There are some young men, few of them. There are some young men who they try to buy over in order to make sure that they undo me on the day of elections. And I am the target. So I am the target of those boys. And I know I have incidented it in the police station. So we know what we are talking about here.
So does that mean different groups work with different boys, and when times change, the boys move to other groups? Is that what's happening here?
Chamberlain, this is politics. There are a group of young men around the corner who goes for the highest bidder at any election. These are practical issues that happen during elections. So these people are not stationed permanently. It depends on who pays for their daily bread. We have a number of them like that across the polity.
All right.
So it's not peculiar to one place.
Okay, well, we'll come back to this in just a moment and get both of you to equally speak to other people about certain other matters. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Well, Mr. Yakubu, let me ask you this. I mean, Honorable Sage just spoke about some thugs, but he also did say, PDP, yourself, you equally use thugs, so don't act as if it's just the APC that is guilty of this one.
At Sage, a lawyer of 25 years, contradicting himself on very sensitive issues that have to do with the election. At one point, he said his boys. At another point, he said they were going to be used against him. At another point, he said they would be paid handsome. And when you asked him, these are your people, these are your boys. And he said, oh, these boys go for the highest bidder. Which means at the point and at time he used them, he has so much money to pay for these same boys, his own boys.
Yakubu, have your party not used them before? That's the question. Haven't you? He says that you'll do it.
25 years of practice, and I know contradicting himself on this issue. He told you, Chamberlain, my boys are being recruited to be used against me. And he said, secondly, oh, he's sure that they are working for the highest bidder. Which means at the time he was paying them as lions and tigers, he had enough money to keep them.
The electorate in Edo State are watching you right now. Are you saying that your party has never made use of political thugs?
Honestly, Chamberlain, I have contested a lot of elections. From the local government chairmanship election in 2007 to 2013 and then 2016. I can speak straight from my conscience to the people of Edo State. I have no reason whatsoever to engage thugs in my political activity. And I have come to know
the governors, having worked with him for the past 2-3 weeks, have also come to know him as a man of peace. And let me tell you, when he was accused, go back to record, when he was accused by the former national chairman of not being able to win his election, he told him he would rather lose his election than to go the Tatata way. These are issues you have in your archive.
Remember, just one moment, Mr. Yakubu.
Peaceful election.
Just one moment. Mr. Yakubu, just one moment. You also remember that your candidate said on television, on camera, and was broadcast all over the place, that, and he said something like, if they want violence, we will give them violence for violence. How is he going to achieve that?
Let me tell you this, and let me repeat this to my brother Samson Osachi. If they want to do what they did in 2016, what the governor is saying is that the Edo people will resist them. And that is exactly what they are seeing on national television and on campaign from word to word.
But Mr. Yakubu, what he referred to, what my colleague just spoke about, is that there was that meeting there and there were boys in the background. And he said, when I have you boys here, those are not just Edo people in the context that you use it.
No, the meeting attended by His Excellency. Now, like I said, His Excellency.
Didn't you address that pointedly? If Honorable Samson has spoken about it, why don't you equally just address it?
I'm addressing that issue. I have just said that what the Excellency was saying is this, and I made my statement by telling you that what the Excellency said was that, look, if you, APC, you try to do what you did in the past, the Tatata way, Edo people will resist the Tatata way and make sure that their vote count. And I want to tell you that if they try to use their tigers and lions on that day, Edo people will not just fold their arms like they did in 2016, watch people armed to the teeth and destroy the police station in Edo State.
Well, Honorable Osage, I mean, you all know yourselves very well in the States. What he is saying, does that resonate with you?
How can it resonate when he is struggling to find an answer and find a way around the question you have answered? My dear brother, you see, John Yakubu, this is not a battle between me and you. There can be no battle between us. The truth is that the governor has not demonstrated a resolve for peace, because that particular meeting that he's talking about was a meeting with students of higher institutions across the state. And he was telling them that with them by his side, nothing can happen, and that the war be used to resist whatever or to cause whatever mayhem. So the point I try to make is that this governor, this candidate, and his party, they are people who do not promote violence, who do not promote peace. I'm sorry. They do not promote peace by their speeches, by their conduct, by their demeanor. And like you said, he has said times without number that people should be dealt with ruthlessly. And he was talking about those who do not agree with him for his second tenure. So he had carried that demeanor from the time he was fighting APC leaders and members into the PDP. And that is what exactly they are doing. The truth of the matter is that they are spending public funds to twist the narrative of the origin and the causes of the violence in Edo State. And I will say it bluntly, times without number, that Governor Godwin Obaseki, the candidate of the PDP, and his team and henchmen are the brains behind the political violence and the heightened tension in Edo State, not the APC on his candidate. And we have addressed press conference a number of times to that effect. And we expect that the security agencies in the state will do the needful, put all parties on check. The national chairman is crying about. The man went to the villa and came out to say, if anybody is caught promoting violence, either in APC or in PDP, they should be arrested. And that is the only way that people will be taught a lesson. A man who is not committed to peace cannot say that. You know, they find pleasure in drumming up his name all the time. But the man is a man of peace. And that is the truth of the matter.
Could you tell us,
you know,
now, both political parties...
And he can answer your questions.
Okay, but both political parties are angling to lead the state and continue leading the state, as it were. Could you tell us, How does your party intend to drive or improve drastically the IGR of Edo State?
Are you asking me that question?
Yes, please.
Are you saying I should start campaigning on this platform?
I'm asking, what do you, because it's not just about violence and ensuring things happen. The people would like to have an idea in terms of why should they even look to your party?
Well, what we have said times without number is that we have a governor in the saddle who do not have a clear-cut roadmap for the development of Edo State, and nobody can hold him onto it. Our candidate and the party have developed a blueprint for the development of Edo State in all facets of human endeavor, be it the economy, social security, infrastructure development, manpower development, empowerment, and employment. Now, you make specific reference to IGR. The truth of the matter is that under Governor Adams Oshiomhole, the IGR of the state has started improving tremendously. What this man has done when he begins to talk of talks, collecting revenue, is to replace those people with a different set of people. There is nothing fantastic about what he has done. As I speak to you today, talks are still collecting revenues and taking people to mobile courts for failure to collect revenues. Market women are being sent to jail. What we are going to do is to continue and improve on the automated collection system that was introduced by Governor Adams Oshiomhole and develop a strategy that will ensure that our tax collection mechanism is proportional and not punitive the way we are having it in Edo State. Our tax collection policy will have a human face, not the type where people who cannot pay 100 naira because their businesses is even less than 1,500 are being sent to Oko prison for failure to pay, and they are being hounded into police detention camps for failure to pay money as small as 100 naira, and that is the evidence across the state.
All right,
so
our
candidate has a clear-cut roadmap to develop Edo State, and we are very confident about that.
Let me take the same question to Mr. Yakubu. In addition to your response, also tell us how, because you might have discussed it in your party, how they intend to ramp up the IGR.
Well, like I said at the beginning of this program, when we speak like this, we are speaking to Edo people. We're not speaking to ourselves as politicians, but the Edo people who live within Edo, who on the 19th of September will come out to vote. When it comes to a clear-cut roadmap on how to develop Edo State, before going into IGRO, Chamberlain, for 3 years, I would quickly mention 3 things that have brought development into Edo State, all located in one local government in Ologbo. The gas collection center, the modular refinery, and the Oshomo electricity that have brought in about 55 megawatts. That has been achieved in less than 4 years. But let's be specific about the issue of IGRO that you said. Chamberlain, I was chairman between 2007 and 2010. And for that period, Oredo local government could hardly get 5 million naira at the end of the day. That local government was commonly referred to as zero allocation local government. But when Obaseki came, he said, no, we cannot allow this money in the hands of individuals, like he said just now, oh, their talks are collecting the money. People who have no investment but celebrated billions in Edo State, known to Edo people, they don't have any investment anywhere, but they went to Dubai to celebrate billions, where the people collecting the money meant to develop Oredo. As I speak to you today, on a monthly basis, like I said, between 2007 and 10, Oredo was on a zero allocation because of these persons. But when Obaseki came, as I speak to you, Oredo alone can boast of between 70 and 100 million monthly internally generated revenue, done, computerized, everybody happy, including members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers who get their money, their percentage from that amount as clearly collected are the agent of government.
Mr. Yakubu, just one moment. We hear you here, but another issue that will be of concern to the people of Edo is that of unemployment. Yeah, it may be a general issue all over the nation, but as at mid-last year, I'm not very sure what the figures are now. It was about 25.1%. That was the unemployment rate in Edo State. Do you have any idea what your candidate intends to do to ramp up employment in the state so that the poverty rate can reduce?
Released a figure last week, and they told the entire world that the Edo State came first for being able to reduce the unemployment percentage for about 24 to 18. And that is why when you come to Edo State, our sister state are feeding Edo State with a workforce. There is no person, if you come to Edo State, there is no person from the northern part of the Nigeria coming to Edo State without having a job to do. And I can tell you, take for the modular refinery, for example, the welding and the fabrication unit of that establishment alone had employed over 1,000 people. And
all right, let me take the same question back to, just one moment, Mr. Yakubu. Let me take the same question to Honorable Osage. Now, unemployment is an issue all over the nation, including Edo State. What's the plan of your candidate?
Well, one of the 6 pillars of our candidate's governance architecture is empowerment and employment. And this will be done in a multi-pronged approach of empowering the people by contributing to their business, supporting their businesses, small and medium-scale businesses, so that they become self-sufficient. And you know, this is the bedrock of the economy. And then getting on investment that will be attracted to encourage local content by way of using local members of our communities to be involved in investment in their respective communities. Now, let me quickly say this. The modular refinery is talking about is a private investment backed by the federal government into which Edo State had merely bought shares and had equity through the contribution of land and some funds, just buying equity. So they can't claim credit for it, 1. 2, the money inside Oredo is generating. What impact is that money having on the Oredo local government? There are roads in Oredo that have not been graded in the last 3 years, and they are unmotorable. If you are collecting so much, how much impact is it making? Then 3, the statistics you are talking from the National Bureau about employment and unemployment in Edo State are mere paperwork. They do not impact on the people of Edo State. If you ask him now in his community, how many people have been employed? It is not a question of emergency issuance of letters of appointment for SSA on social media. That is not employment we are talking about. Gainful employment in Edo State is a hoax, it is a mirage. It doesn't happen. What you have is that the governor has thrown off figures.
Well, just one moment. I'm not sure that I understand what you're saying. Can you clear that? Just one moment, Honorable Osage, because last year the unemployment rate was something in the region of 25.1%, and it has come down to something in the region of 12 or thereabout percent. Are you saying that those figures are not real? It came from the NBS.
What I'm telling you is that what the NBS has done with the case of Edo State, that is the only one I can speak about, is that they have accepted the figure generated from Edo State, which, as far as we do know by our investigation, that those figures are not really the do, because there is no impact in that sector. The chief of staff to this governor did mention that as chief of staff, he wanted to find out the number of people that have been employed under Edo jobs in his local government. And he was refused and then begin to tag as an opposition within government. All these are not real figures. And they carry out trading of people and then they call it employment. It's a ruse. It's a hoax. It doesn't exist. Some of these things they're talking about, they are on paper. They have no impact on Edo people. That is the truth of the matter. And everybody knows this. I'm surprised John Yakubu is talking about working with the governor for 3 weeks and then he has gone to know him. He doesn't know the governor he's working with. That is the truth of the matter. He was our candidate in 2016 and we have been with him for 8 years before he got elected as governor. John Yakubu. Hang on,
Mr. Just a minute, Mr. Sage. Let him give us his concluding thoughts so we can equally just wind down. Mr. Yakubu, go ahead, please.
Well, I am surprised, if not shameful, that a former member of the House of Representatives is saying that the National Bureau of Statistics figures are made up. And I really don't know how to explain that to the people. And when a person of Samson Osaje standing and a former member of the House of Rep is disputing figures from the National Bureau of Statistics, man, I think it is shameful. Having said that, I don't want to go personal to say the number of persons I have employed because of the enabling environment provided by the government led by Nosagare, Godwin Obaseki. But I want to let you know, like I said just now, we are not speaking just to channels or to the three of us on this program. We are speaking to Edo people who, by the grace of God, are aware of what is on ground. If the governor is, like he mentioned, the modular refinery and said, Chamberlain, let me quickly say this. Before the one in Edo State took off, there are over 30 or 40 licenses issued to people to establish modular refinery. It is the only one in Edo State in the past 3 years that have reached 75% completion. I want my friend Samson Osaje to point to another modular refinery that is being constructed right now.
All right, gentlemen, we thank you both. Mr. John Yakubu, former deputy governorship candidate to the PDP. That was when Ozeyame was contesting. And he's also chairman of ESA North Campaign Council of the PDP. And Honorable Samson Osaige, former minority whip member of the APC. Thank you both for talking to us today. All right, then. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.